What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the next episode here on the Sports Talk with Hawk podcast. Welcome in on this beautiful day. Hopefully the week is continuing to treat you well. We have got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, our first playoff team that we're going to be looking at here. A little bit different than what I expected. The Buccaneers, historically, have been a very well-run franchise, and the GM, Jason Light, has been very good at what he does. He's going to have to get creative again with some of the things that I found while I was digging, looking through last year's stats and what we are looking at for the year 2025 for this organization. So let's jump right into it. They finished first in the NFC South. They got bounced by the Commanders in a very fun playoff game to watch, and now are looking at what the future may hold. So let's go over what they do have. They have Mike Evans. They have currently one really good back, one really good back, and one good running back. They've got three running backs that are all very decent between Bucky Irving, Rachaad White, and Sean Tucker. They've got a quarterback who fits Tampa Bay really well in Baker Mayfield. Less stress than Cleveland. Less media pressure than Cleveland. Tampa Bay fits Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield fits Tampa Bay. You've got the head coach, Todd Bowles, who I guess he's fine, but he looks lost on the sideline. He got out-coached by Dan Quinn so bad in that playoff game, it wasn't even funny. I mean, he got flat out-coached out of the stadium in that Commander-Buccaneer playoff game. So, do I think it's... I mean, he got it after Arians left. Do I think it's great? No. Is there really a problem? Absolutely not. If you're going to win 10 games a year in Tampa Bay, you're safe. You're absolutely safe. So there's no reason to really worry if you're Todd Bowles unless you end up going 5-12 or 6-11. I don't really think there's a concern. But what is a concern is that little number right there underneath his name. Only $1 million in cap space. Now remember, this is the effective cap space. And then you look, there's 25 free agents, and 22 of them are unrestricted. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at some of those free agents here. Let's see, where are they at? Bucs. There they are. So right off the top of the list, the number one decision they're going to have to make is what they're going to do with Chris Godwin. He's a free agent. Do they sign him? What's his value on the market? What's his value for Tampa Bay? McMillan came on really strong. You can draft another receiver. The tight end, Cade Otton, really solid tight end. So do you need Godwin? Do you worry about spending the money on Godwin? He was a $20 million cap hit. Levante David, I think, will re-sign for one more year. Still looks like he's got a little bit of juice left in the tank. I think he'll sign a one-year deal, probably around the $5 to $6 million mark, potentially with incentives. Anthony Nelson is also a free agent. Greg Gaines, also a free agent. William Golston is a free agent. Shaquille Barrett, Troy Hill. So they've got some free agents. I mean, they got total 25 of them. $1 million in cap space right now. What's the plan? What's the plan? This is what they were in 2024. So check this out. This is for a playoff team. So they were third total offense. Third in total offense at 400 yards a game. They were third in passing at 250 yards a game and fourth in rushing at basically 150 yards a game. That's pretty impressive. The Buccaneer offense was really strong. Their average points per game were 29. averaging 29 points per game with 400 yards in offense. That's a recipe for success. That is a legit recipe for success. Now, defensively, which is what bothers me because Todd Bowles is a defensive head coach. This is what bothers me. They're losing their offensive coordinator again. You don't get lucky 3 times in a row. The Packers had multiple quarterbacks in a row between Favre, Rodgers, and now Jordan Love. You don't get that lucky with offensive coordinators. Very often, there's going to be a drop. I believe there will be a drop. Your defense then has to step up, and this was their defensive statistics. They were 18th in total defense, Todd Bowles' specialty. 18th at 342 yards a game. They were 29th against the pass. You want an easy way to be beat in today's football? Be horrible against the pass. 29th, averaging 244 yards a game. Now, Vita Vea helps. The rushing defense was 4th best, only allowing 98 yards a game. But if your passing defense is so bad, who's worried about rushing? Who's worried about being able to run over 100 yards a game? Run for 85 and throw for 300. You got a shot at winning. The average points per game allowed on defense is 22. 22 points per game. So they outscored their opponents on average by 7 points a game. Then you go down, turnover differential. Once again, defensively, it doesn't stack up. They were -5 in the turnover differential. 7 interceptions, 11 fumbles. They gave away 16 interceptions by Baker Mayfield, and they gave away 7 fumbles. So it was a -5 turnover differential. It's not what we've seen on some with -14s and -10s, but defensive coach struggles on defense. I have to believe the data, the numbers, everything is going to tell you this team will take a step back in 2025. Not having any cap space, not being able to really advance the team. They've only got 6 picks in the draft. They don't even have all 7. They've only got 6. I don't see them being able to make any of these trades. I don't see them being able to make any of these trades whatsoever. I don't know what the plan is for them, really. The more and more I was thinking about this team, the more and more I was doing research, it just looks like a team that's kind of stuck with some of the contracts they've given out, and not the Baker Mayfield one. Baker does not hurt this team. Baker does not hurt this team at all. But some of the contracts they've given out, they're going to have to restructure. They're probably going to end up with around $20 million after they restructure deals, would be my guess. So enough to be able to get your, speed third down rush, be able to get your hurricane package, guys that just rush the passer, but it's not going to help much else. You will have to hit on at least 4 of your 6 picks in the draft for this to even have a chance of working right now. That's where it's at. That's exactly where we're at. What $1 million in cap space, all those free agents sitting there, you got to do something. They'll free up around $19-20 million. They'll be able to do a little bit, but it doesn't look great. And I love the Buccaneer franchise. I've always loved the Buccaneer franchise. Patient, supportive, outrageously supportive. Even when they fired Tony Dungy, it was just because they felt there was something new that was needed. Dungy had brought them from the mire Somebody else had to go get the top. They get John Gruden. They win a Super Bowl. The thing is, then they fell right back down. And then, recently, you have Jameis Winston, Bruce Arians. Really, really high scoring offense. Bad defense, lots of turnovers. You get Tom Brady. You go up to top. Bruce Arians and Tom Brady leave, and you go back down. Now, they're not going into mediocrity, so kudos to them for that. But you're 10-7. You're basically a 500 team. You really are a 500 team. And you don't match up against anybody. You don't match up against the Commanders, the Rams, the Eagles, the Vikings. You don't match up against the Packers. You do not match up against any of these NFC playoff teams now. The NFC South is in a little bit of trouble. We talked about the Falcons. What has to happen? You have to be legitimate this year. The Buccaneers are going to have a hard time doing that. So what's the out-of-the-box idea? Because this is hard. There's no cap room. There's no cap room. I think you need picks. And it's not really out-of-the-box idea because it's going to be outrageously simple. I think you trade one of your 3 running backs. I think you trade Rachaad White. Multiple teams would want him. Multiple teams would want him. I think you trade Rachaad White. And you try to accumulate picks if you can. If you can trade the number 19 pick, trade backwards. If you can trade the number 19 pick, trade backwards with Rachaad White, pick up a first, a fifth, and a sixth, or a first and 2 sixths, whatever it may be, because of compensatory picks. I think you have to, because you're going to need draft picks to replace what you're not going to be able to get in free agency. You got to let Godwin go. So I think it's really just a picks move. Trade White and your first, move back, get their first round. With Rachaad White, you should be able to actually get a fourth and a sixth. You need draft picks. You've got Sean Tucker to back up Bucky Irving. You're good there. Bucky obviously is a very clear number 1. Love that guy. Great runner. Love the burst he has. So you don't need White. You don't need the plethora of running backs. Trade back. Get picks. And then hope you hit on them. But either way, this will be my prediction for next year. I think they go 7-10. I think they do take a 3-game step back. And I honestly think it's going to be because of the defense. I think the offense could still be top 10. There's guys. Bucky Irving and that offensive line, you're going to be able to continue running. You're 4th in rushing. A lot of the top rushing teams made the playoffs. So being a top rushing team can absolutely equate to the playoffs. But I think the downfall is going to be their defense. And if their defense doesn't improve dramatically against the pass, I don't see this team, another new offensive coordinator. They take a step back on offense. I'll say they'll stay top 10 in rushing, but I think they go between 10 and 15 in passing offense, I think is where they'll end up. So they'll end up between, probably anywhere between 8 and 13 in the total offense ranking. And that's good enough to make the playoffs, but if your defense is 20th or worse, it's going to be really hard. And that's kind of where I see this going. The turnover differential, I say, gets worse. They'll have less turnovers that they force and continue, probably with the same amount that they give away, because they're going to be in games where they got to score points. So you're going to take more risks. So I'm going to say way too early prediction of being 7-10 here in the 2025 season that's upcoming. Obviously, that's way too early. We won't do the official ones until, preseason. But the outlook doesn't really look great for a team that just won their division and went to the playoffs and had a home playoff game. that screen right there, that thumbnail, doesn't give you a lot of hope. Because every team that is around you, the entire nucleus, is going to improve. Washington's got cap. Detroit has a little bit of wiggle room still. Minnesota's got cap. Atlanta's got a little bit of cap money. They've also got some picks to be able to do it. They've got better picks than you do. So, how are you going to improve just to keep pace with the rest of the teams? That's going to be the hard thing. So no real out-of-the-box idea. I was going over it, and I can't see a way unless it's a cap-related move. And honestly, the cap-related move is going to be trading Vita Vea. And I don't think that helps them. I really don't. Outside of cap room, trading Vita Vea does not help them. The one thing about out-of-the-box ideas is it has to make sense. If it's to free up cap room or improve the team in one of two ways or both. Vita Vea doesn't improve the team, and it only frees up cap room, and you're going to get worse in that area almost no matter what you do. So it makes your defense a lot worse, but frees up cap room, but you lose a very vocal leader in the locker room. I don't think that works. I don't think that's a good idea. That's why it's not what I went with. Trade the 19 pick, trade Rachaad White, get a first. You may even be able to get a third because Rachaad White was the starter 2 years ago. Bucky came in and just lit everything on fire. Rachaad White was the guy that everybody was thinking was the next one. So there's multiple teams that'll take him off your hands. He's a good player, really good back. That's what I would do. That's as simple as I can put it. That's what I would do. Accumulate draft picks. You need them. You've only got 6. You need to get that up to 8. For a team that doesn't have money, they'll restructure stuff. You don't have money to improve as the rest of the teams around you do. It's that simple. All right. Our first playoff team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is done. We are almost through another week of snapshots. We are inching closer and closer. We are just over a month out from when the league year opens. Let's go over some of the news that I wasn't able to get to. So number one, Myles Garrett has requested a trade from Cleveland. If Cleveland's stupid, they'll hold on to him and force him to be unhappy. I think that would be a very bad disservice to Myles Garrett and what he's done for Cleveland. I don't like players forcing themselves out of places normally, but the situation has to be looked at individually. Myles Garrett has given everything he can to Cleveland. He doesn't want to be part of another rebuild. You can't blame him. Cleveland, you failed Myles Garrett. Now do the honorable thing for a guy who stayed committed to you for this long. Do the honorable thing. You can get 2 first-round picks in a player. You could potentially get 4 picks for this guy. Reboot. I know I said it in my snapshot. It came out the exact same day he requested, but I'd already recorded it. Go. Let him go. The other news is that Cooper Kupp is going to be shopped and will be traded from the Rams. I saw that one coming. I haven't done the snapshot for the Rams yet. That'll be actually built into it. It was part of what I was saying was probably going to happen. It is going to happen. So Myles Garrett, Cooper Kupp, both open, available trade targets once this new league year begins. That is it for this episode, guys. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Make sure to subscribe, like the podcast. Hopefully you guys love these. Like I said, simple, straightforward, the info you want to know, and just a little bit of analysis. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Until next time, for Sports Talk with Hawk, I'm Hawk, and have a fantastic day.